Hey guys, welcome back to Toto Capital. My name's Liam, and in this video I'm going to break down why this trade was taken. And initially, let's just pop over to Twitter on X just so I can show this was shared in real time. Okay, so let's pop over here. You can see I am short bias USD CHF out of 0.90 area. We are approaching a convergence of a daily fair value gap in combination with the order block that created the initial sell-off. Okay, so if sellers are going to take control of this market, this is the area on which they're going to look to short out of for a continuation play. Okay, so let's just break this down step by step. This was the outcome of the trade. Okay, so this was the initial analysis. These are the live updates, and this was the outcome shared in real time on the market. Okay, so let's just jump over this as USD CHF, clean chart, and let's break down why exactly this trade was taken. Okay, so initially, what we have on the daily time frame is we have a fair value gap to the downside. So essentially, we've got this gap here, which is essentially an imbalance showing that sellers are in complete control of this market, and therefore their momentum is, or at least the momentum within the market is biased to the downside. So therefore, in terms of probabilities, price is more likely to continue moving to the downside with that momentum. Okay, so essentially the trend is to the downside on this time frame. Okay, so we've got the daily fair value gap that's been identified and marked on, and essentially that's from this low of this candle here, this down to the close of this candle here. So it's a 3-candle pattern, and that's been marked on in this grey area here. That's your daily fair value gap. Okay, so now we need to look for an entry within the market to the downside. In terms of an entry model, what we have is a 4-hour order block that created this initial sell-off to the downside. Okay, so let's mark that on here. So that's a 4-hour order block, and that's this grey area here. Okay, so essentially I've marked that on from the open of the candle up to the top of the wick. Okay, so this is the area that we're looking at shorting out of. You can see you've got a convergence of our daily fair value gap with it and within the 4-hour order block. So this sort of shaded the lighter region. This is the intersection of the fair value gap and order block. Therefore, this is the confluence area where we're looking at shorting off of. Okay, so our order went in the market here. In terms of a stop loss went above this candle here. So we've got sort of an invalidation above this candle here. But it also gave the trade a bit of room to breathe, okay? Because we're never gonna time the market perfectly. We're never gonna be able to always catch the absolute top or bottom. However, I do know this is the area where we want to be looking at getting short. Out of this confluence area, we've got invalidation. We know exactly how much we're going to lose if the trade does push up there, but we're also giving the trade a bit of room to breathe. So in theory, because this is the order block that sold off, you could have an invalidation above here. However, I think that's too tight, okay? This is something that I've touched on quite a bit recently, where you need to give your trade plenty of room to breathe and allow price to do its thing, okay? Because you set your order in the market. As I said, you're not going to get that instant execution where it's just going to go straight into profit every time, okay? And sometimes what you do find is price pushes up, okay? It may deviate above this order block high here and then ultimately sell off to the downside, okay? So, it's always nice to give it a bit more room to breathe, okay? So let's just play price on here. In terms of targets, we've got this low down here, 0.89400 area, and then you've got a lot of liquidity that's resting below there. So these are going to be the ultimate targets down at the lows, which is around a 1 to 2 on this trade, okay? And you can see we're triggered in the market here. So we're triggered in right here. And yeah, you've just got to allow that trade to play out, okay? You can see ultimately price absolutely rocketed to the downside. You had that flush out to the downside, liquidating anyone that tried to get long, tried to fight the momentum and fight the trend. And ultimately their stop losses would have been below here. And we've just deviated below that right now. Okay, so that is why this trade was taken. We had a daily fair value gap showing downward momentum. In correspondence for an entry model, we've got our 4-hour order block. And yeah, you've got clear invalidation above this candle here. Bit of room to breathe, and then you've got targets down at range lows that are on a 1 to 2. Okay, so a very, very great trade here, and this was shared in real time on X as well. So if you're not already, make sure to drop me a follow for more content like this, for more up-to-date, time-sensitive content. Okay, so that's it for this one, guys. You take care. Bye-bye.